In this video, we will see the third step to create a new transactional currency. The third step entails creating new currency transaction types. Transaction types are the means by which, or basically a parameter that we have to configure so that we can associate journals to segments. That way, when we post journals, the segments are updated appropriately. So in this case, if we're going to be doing transactions that are going to be posted to the general ledger in the GBP currency, we need to set up transaction types for that GBP currency, both for source GBP, US dollar or reporting currency converted from GBP, and total GBP. So if we look at the process, we have to go to the GL module, go to the journal transaction screen. We will create a new total transaction type for the new currency. We will create a source transaction type for the new currency, and then a reporting currency converted from the new transactional currency transaction type. So if the reporting currency is US dollars, we would create US dollars converted from GBP in our example. So let's take a look at that in the application. So we will go to the General Ledger module, then to Customizer, then go to Journal Transactions. Once here, we will select the ledger, which generally will be GL or WIP, and then we will enter the transaction type code. So in this case, we'll start with current year, let's say GBP total. So the naming convention depends on your database. Usually this is what I see in some of the systems I've configured. In this test environment, it is slightly different, but we'll do this one here. We will search for the corresponding segment. So in this case, this transaction type is going to update this segment. Then in the segment definition, we did it a little bit differently. Usually, total will be created first. So total, then source, then converted from. So in this case, this is GBP total. We will select the account types that are valid for this transaction type. Usually, we'll select all, and then we will save. And this one over here, we'll leave it as blank. I'll explain what that one is for in a moment. So at this point, we've created the total transaction type. Now we'll create the next one. So this is the source transaction type. We have to select type of update period and year to date for current year. I didn't explain that in the last one. But for current year, this one is the one we select. And we'll select the segment that will be updated by this transaction type, which is the GBP source segment for the current year. Select all the account types as valid, and then we will select here the total segment. What this means is whenever we post a journal that uses this transaction type, then that journal will also update the total segment via transaction type 804, which is the current year GBP total segment. After that, we will add another code here, which is going to be current year USD from GBP. The reason being our transactional currency is going to update the reporting currency, which in this case is US dollars. And we'll select the corresponding segment, the valid account types, and the segment that will be updated when this transaction type is activated, which in this case is total USD. So whenever we have a source GBP transaction that's going to convert using this transaction type via the corresponding journal, converted journal, and that's going to also update the US dollar total number. So say I spend 100 GBP, that has a conversion amount in US dollar, that's our reporting currency, and that converted amount in US dollar is going to be updated in the segment via this transaction type. Then we save, and at that point, we will have completed the transaction type setup. That completes this step, and we would do the next one on the next video.